Hello, I'm creating this video to show you guys what I'm currently doing, and currently I'm porting some of my Java classes to Kotlin. This is the game, by the way. I've created it ages ago. Nothing too complicated, just a simple platformer with this rogue HP bar. That's just a little bug. Anyway, I started writing tests for this class, and I thought about maybe writing it Kotlin. I'm really happy too I did it because it just looks so beautiful. It's so slick. It works really well too because I can reference Java classes in Kotlin and Kotlin classes in Java. For example, this is the Java class, and I can just take my reference it like it was written in Java, and for example, this is the property. So they work really well with each other. I can also reference this one in Kotlin, and the tests are really easy to write. But then I thought, well, if I don't need that much verbosity in tests, well, there surely are classes that don't need to be verbose as well in Java. For example, this thingy here. This is just a pojo with right, width, and bottom properties, and left, top, and tiles fields. So I started to migrate them as well, and I will just show you how to do it, how I do it, basically. So I have this game map class in Java, and you can see I've been using Lombok here to generate the constructor and the getter, but it's really too verbose to me. It just has these three fields, those should be final by the way, and this factory class. So first thing you need to do before porting it to Kotlin is to remove these Lombok annotations. We won't be needing them actually. I found out almost every Lombok annotation is redundant in Kotlin. There's a dedicated syntax for that, which I love, really. And I will just create a Kotlin class. I want to create it in gameplay scene folder. So I'm just going to create a Kotlin file, name it the same, game map KT. And now it's empty, but I'm using IntelliJ, and IntelliJ has this really great translator for this class. And I'll just copy and paste this file, paste it here. Oh yeah, the namespace is messed up. And it really did a great job. Well, sort of a good job because well, in Java we needed a method factory that would return the factory, but in Kotlin we have something that's called a companion object. We can name it, of course. We don't need this method anymore because we can just extend this factory. Now the companion object is my factory, so I no longer have a method that returns a factory, but my companion object itself is a factory. And now I can just get rid of my original game map. And now we can see we don't need to call this factory method to get the factory, but just use the factory companion object. So basically the companion object is, you can think of it as a constant static field in Java. Now, if we look at those files, you can see that the amount of information in those two files is exactly the same, which is brilliant. You can see that we have 5 properties here, constructor for all of those properties, and getters for all of them, and also the method for the factory, which is exactly the same what we have here. So 5 properties, the constructor, and the factory object, which is now even better because it's a static field sort of. With each class that I migrate from Java to Kotlin, I can see that if I'm writing Lombok, it's kind of as if I'm already writing Kotlin, just in an uglier way with those final fields, because, you know, val is final. So even the final and final field information is preserved in the Kotlin file. So my guess is if you have a class that strongly relies on Lombok, well, that's basically a Kotlin class. You should migrate right away. It's not that great though. I've been porting one class, class that's holding passwords as bytes in file. I stumbled upon something. I couldn't migrate the bitwise sum and multiplication operations to Kotlin that easily. There was something between, well, basically there was no operation for a bitwise AND in the standard Kotlin library. It was only in the experimental namespace. So I'm not really sure whether I should really be using those or not, but I used it anyway. IntelliJ didn't migrate it automatically. I had to type it. Not every class migration is as painless as this one, but if you're just having constructors and fields, getters, factories, so a lot of boilerplate code, you should definitely migrate it from Lombok to Kotlin. Thanks very much.